Now that it's spring and we can get the truck up here, it is time to take a look at our water situation again. So we've probably got maybe a quarter left in the tank above the loft, and this tank has been sitting out all winter. This is the one we use for transporting back and forth. So I'm going to give it a quick clean with some bleach. I'll just pour a little bleach in there, swirl it around with this, get it dumped out, and then we'll get it loaded in the truck. And then we'll go get some water, and then we got to use up the water in there, clean that tank, and get this pumped up in there. So that's the plan. That's our summer situation. It's a lot easier than in the winter when we're taking that little sled and hauling 6-gallon jugs back and forth. That takes a lot more effort and time. So let's get this cleaned up. Looking pretty clean in there. We got some little bit of stuff floating down in the bottom. I have a copper pipe in there that just helps against growth from anything. But otherwise, we're looking pretty clean. I'm gonna tip this up and get this poured out of the top because that down there doesn't really let me drain everything, and I want to try and get as much of this out as I can. See, there's just a little bit of stuff down in there, but I might grab a towel and clean that out the best I can. But nothing that's gonna kill me. Yeah, so it's not too big of a deal that there's a little bit of bleach in there and that we use bleach for cleaning. Actually, a lot of people up here take and put bleach in their water tanks just to keep it clean. Basically, what you're doing is taking the chlorine, I believe. I think it's chlorine that's in this, and that's what keeps your water clean. So, as long as it's watered down, it's really not a big deal. And it keeps anything that's actually a big deal that will make you sick from being in the water.
I hate this. There's nowhere to grab. Well, I mean, there is, but not good. All right. Stand.
We gotta lift it up past the truck spot.
Oh, it's got a. What? I thought I did.
So before we fill this with water, I want to change how this plug is. Before I had just an adapter that went to like a hose splitter, and that didn't work very well. It leaked out of those valves and stuff, and it just wasn't great. So I'm going to get rid of all the garden hose type stuff and like actually plumb this. So hopefully I don't have any leaks and it'll be more reliable for me. Okay, so it's going to be this first and on this adapter. And it seems that my cleaner for this glue is completely dried up and gone, so that's unfortunate. I wiped everything down the best I can. Hopefully it doesn't leak on me. So I'm just going to go straight with the glue. going to put this pipe on, which is a lot longer than I need it, so I'm going to cut this a bit shorter. And then we're going to put on a ball valve. Ooh, I might thread this on just to see which side's up first though. I don't want to have my valve sideways on here. I'm going to put it just slightly crooked because I'm sure I can get it tightened a little bit more once I get some tools for it. I probably could have cut that shorter yet too, but whatever. And then last we're going to put this adapter on, which is just the PVC to a hose, just a standard garden hose connection. Alright. We'll let that dry overnight and we'll be ready to go tomorrow. Filling up at the Trapper Creek watering point. We got 325 gallons, so I put in about $30, split between the two pumps, and this is tested water, nice and clean. Pumps right into our tanks here, and this will fill us most of the way up. Doing it this way saves me a ton of time versus going to the Sheep Creek spring. So this is way faster than me trying to pump out of that spring. So when we fill our big tank, this is typically what we do. Well, I forgot to close the valve on our water tank down there, so I had to close it real quick, and we actually ended up spilling a little bit of water. I noticed it pretty quick, so I was able to get it closed off quick. Rowan's fighting sleep right now, so she's just a little fussy with me. See behind me that we still have snow on the ground, but it is such a beautiful day out. You can't get much better than this. We're at 55 degrees right now, and it is just beautiful out. One of the nicest days we've had in a long time.
So we do need to do a little bit of fixing up for the bridge. Some of the boards, like this one right here, is completely missing, and some of them are pretty well cracked that we need to fix that. So on the end of the bridge here, you can kind of see in this corner and that corner, it's starting to wash out. So the dirt is kind of, well, it's washing out. So we kind of need to figure out some sort of a fix. Hopefully this summer we can kind of fix both of these corners and get something figured out for that.
Water's back home. We had to take the trail quite slow, of course, because that is a lot of water and it's pretty heavy for this truck. We've got over 300 gallons there, and I believe that's over a ton. And this truck is only rated for 3/4 ton, but we just take it slow and it's not a big deal. Plus, I've got all these extra cans of gas that also add weight, and we had a pallet that we picked up. But now that we have the water here, we will get this pumped into the house. But before we pump it into the house, we have to drain what we got in that tank up there and get it cleaned. we're no longer freezing at night, so we don't have to worry about anything freezing in our pipe here. So I'm going to shut off this valve and go upstairs and open the valve upstairs and get this pipe filled in. Don't have to worry about it freezing, so I don't have to worry about it breaking anything. You can see that we used a good amount of our water. We were pretty conservative over the winter because we don't really have a good way to haul a lot of water at once and to be able to fill this tank over the winter with the snow machine. But we still have maybe a third to like a quarter. But we're going to use that probably for doing a lot of laundry right now. So I'll open up this valve and we should hear it run down below. Well, it's not like a crazy high flow, but it's something. Oh, it's getting more. Okay. Well, now that it's full flow, I should be able to shut this off, and that's pretty good, I think. Should keep decent pressure now. Should have got all the air out. I hooked up a hose to that pipe and hooked it up to our washer outside here. And we're going to get a load going. It's just some blankets because we need to use up the water. This fitting here, I'm missing a gasket, so it's leaking. So I'm just going to go shut it off up there once it pulls the water it needs. But we'll get a load started. And we'll let it go. So we used up the water that we could doing laundry outside, and it took a lot more than I expected. It took us actually a couple days to get through all this water doing laundry. But now we're low enough that no more water is coming out of the pipe, and I can add a valve on here before I pump the new water in. I was actually one ring short, so I had to run over to the neighbors and borrow a ring from him for the 3/4 inch PEX. But we're going to add a valve right away at the tank so that later on I can add a pump once I get around to plumbing the rest of the house. I would prefer to put the ball valve right here instead of here, but it's going to be a real tight fit. I'm not sure that it's going to fit, but I think we're just going to do it and hope for the best. And if it doesn't fit, then I got to figure out getting more rings and adding PEX and cutting these ones off. So. Look at that, no water. So hopefully we have enough in here. Oh yeah, look at that. Try this one too. Perfect. We got plenty on there. Now we should be able to fill our tank. finished pumping the tank up into the house. We are almost full upstairs, and we should have plenty of water for quite a few months. Hopefully, yet this summer we will get a well. It's cross our fingers, hope it still happens, but don't really know. Now that the tractor is mostly working, I still have to wait for the hydraulic stuff, but once that's up and running, I'll be able to do some work to the driveway, and they should be able to get in here with the bigger equipment to get us a well. But in the meantime, this is what we do for our summer water, and it should last us plenty long, and don't have to worry about the water consumption now because it's not hard for us to just go get another tank of water.